called real estate, 9 of them. And we're all in a little play. And I want to be the owner of this property eventually, and I got to talk to those 9 people in such a way that those 9 people will turn that property over to me somehow. People always say, can you buy property with nothing down? It's impossible to do that these days. Well, I can always borrow 100% of the money from some partner. Take that money of that partner and go ahead and buy the piece of real estate. Big deal. That's nothing down to me, right? So these 9 players in the game, I have to have this little play that I'm putting on. And each person's playing a different role. And when I walk into a piece of real estate, I see it differently than you do. I'm in there looking, I'm saying to myself, does God want me to own this house? I literally feel it. I'm walking through this home, and I know, no matter what kind of money I have or what kind of deals or opportunities are coming on, I just sense it. And when I sense it, then I go off, okay, then I've just got to work with these 9 people to figure it out somehow. Do you have an intuitive strength, courage that's strong? How many of you have a good intuition? See, raise your hands on that. How do you do your intuition? When if you were to receive an intuitive hunch, how would you do it? How would you know that you should buy that house? How would you know it? Is it a feeling you have? Is it a little voice that says, yeah, this is the one right here? Or is it a flash of insight where you can literally see it all beautified and the walls are painted and you can just see it? Each of us has our own way of doing intuition, and we don't have really time enough to spend it this afternoon to talk about it. We might talk a little bit more about it when we go into the Power of Persuasion seminar, the 3-day that I'm going to gift you, the proteges. But in addition to this powerful intuition you've already received, which is your gift of brilliance, higher power also communicates to you. As she was saying, you have ways that higher power talks to you. I want you to do it as an enlightened way. When you walk in that property, I want you to literally sense whether this is yours or not. Walk in. Is this the one? And if you get a good hit on it, if you feel good about it, then you go into it with much more congruency, like, yeah, something about this property is going to change my life. Now, when you get a negative intuition where it goes, don't buy this property, don't buy this one. Have you ever had that? I had that one on a beautiful property, multi-million-dollar piece of property, and my intuition said, don't buy this one. But my greed bully said, think of how wonderful it will be when you own this property and you'll be rich. And I would not listen to my intuition. And that one mistake cost me $10 million and wiped me completely out. So I'm speaking from personal experience here. When you walk into your building, your intuition is going to let you know. If you haven't yet learned how to coach your intuition to that level, then when you drive home tonight, drive home following your intuition. Should I turn left here or right here? Just follow it. Learn how to follow it. Like I said, we could spend hours on this. The first step, you walk in and you go, is this the one? Then each of the 9 players in the real estate deal has to be analyzed. Is it the property itself? Is it the tenants? Could the tenants help somehow? Is it the realtor? Is it the lender? Is it a partner lender? Is it a mortgage holder? Is it an investor who we could create a note and discount the note and get the cash from it? In other words, each one of these players in this game has to be kind of visualized in a sense. And when I walk into a piece of real estate, I just know who to talk to. And I start to talk to them like, how can I help you solve this problem? And because I come into it without, like me greedily trying to beat them down to the lowest dollar I can possibly get this property for, when I come into it, it's like, boy, you got a problem here. Let's try to solve it. And if I can't buy it, I can't buy it. Let's help you figure it out. And then a lot of times they'll say, okay, I'll take your help. And you help them and you get nothing. You get nothing. And every once in a while, a person will say, I don't want it. One of our students it was a millionaire now. It was a wonderful Hispanic family from right here in L.A. This lady had a person come in and steal her house from them, stole it from her. How'd they steal it from her? She was starting to be late on her payments. They found out through one of these foreclosure lists. They called her on the phone and said, we'll take care of you. We'll pay you money. Just hang on. And they drug her out on purpose to the last day of the foreclosure sale. And she finally says, you guys were supposed to take care of me. What's going on here? She says, we were just, frankly, just dragging you on. I don't know why they ever told her. They shouldn't have told her, frankly. But as soon as she called our Hispanic gentleman, who's a wonderful guy. He's going to New York with us. And he had come to her early on and said, can I help you? And she loved this kid. But he couldn't have she had already committed to sell to these other guys. And as soon as she found it, she went back through all the people who had called her. There must have been 50 people had talked to her about buying her house in foreclosure. This was 2 years ago. And who did she remember? The kid who had tried to help her. That was the person who stood out to her. It was the enlightened person, frankly. She called him on the phone. She says, I'm going to foreclosure tomorrow. And so he had 24 hours to raise about $50,000 in cash. And let me tell you, the hoops he went through to get it, you would be surprised. But he was there at the foreclosure sale with a cashier's check within 24 hours and bought that house. And you know why he bought it? Because she said, I'm going to lose it, I know. But if anybody in the world is going to get it, I want you to have it. And when I heard that story, I mean, like just what you did, I go, oh yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about an enlightened person, and what I believe is that higher power does get you the deals. The deals do fall in your lap. They just do. In a magical, incredible way. They really do, don't they? They just do. And it's crazy to talk about it. Now he said to her, let me help you get into a house. He made $160,000 on that house, by the way. $160,000 cashier check dollars. And he said, now, ma'am, she said, I'm out. I'm done, because he said, let's go find you a house. Let's take some of that money and let's put you into a house that you can afford. And he took the next step. He didn't have to. Took the next step. Now, you talk to that woman about this young guy, and she used a word that I want you to remember. She says, he was my angel. He was my angel. Does she love this kid even now? What I'm trying to teach you is that when you see real estate, you have to see it in a totally different way. You're not kind of trying to do a deal where you beat somebody down and get the lowest possible price so you can put it on the Millionaire Hall of Fame. I mean, that would be the worst story you could have, is you beat somebody down to the bottom so you could put some numbers on the Millionaire Hall of Fame. You walk into that home and you say, God, what do you want me to do in this house? Is there somebody who needs some help? Somebody was in that house praying for a solution. Are you the solution? Or are you the problem? You come into that house as the solution. And you say, higher power? You know, all this talk about tithing and stuff. People usually pay tithing for the wrong reasons. They pay tithing because they assume that if they'll put their 10% in, that God will give them 10 times that, right? Isn't that the certificate of deposit in some higher power bank? Don't do that. Don't ever do that. When you give because you are so grateful. You are so overwhelmingly appreciative of the breath you take, that giving 10% to anybody to help them is such a privilege to you that you can't even believe anybody allows you to do that. And you expect absolutely nothing back. If you expect it back, you didn't give it right.
So the prism is a word. The first one means P stands for product. Everyone say product? Now, there's all kinds of products. I mean, there's hair products, there's car products, all kinds of products. Second P?
The prism is an acronym that we use a lot. Your business is going to do one of these 5 things. It's either going to be a product,
or a related product. For instance, an automobile is a product. What would be a related product to an automobile? A tire.
Yeah,
or
the mirror. I met the lady whose husband invented the mirror. She makes her name's Prince. We had dinner with 8 of us in Hawaii not long ago. They make $4 billion a year on a rear view mirror. One related product, rear view mirror. One product can make you rich. Everyone say, one product can make me rich.
one product.
It can make all your heirs, that's H-E-I-R-S, rich. I mean, my estate attorney and Bob's, or no, we've got different estate attorneys now, but my estate attorney is the guy who did all of L. Frank Baum's estate. Who's L. Frank Baum? Insurance guy who wrote The Wizard of Oz. His estate makes $100 million a year with little Tin Man on Halloween and all that junk. That's why we said write down your 100-year goal, because all of you were born rich. That's what everyone says. I was born rich.
I was born rich.
Now, some of you just haven't bought into the fact that you were born rich. You got 18 billion brain cells, but what we're going to give you is some models to go through so you get it. Everyone say, I got it. Now, the I got it seems silly, but you got to have it before you get it. That's what's amazing. It sounds like gobbledygook. But the spiritual laws, I call those things that are not seen as though they were seen and they came to be seen, Bob.
So
it could be an information product, service, or media.
Whether it's a product or a related product, information. How many of you want to write a book again? You see that? So you would be marketing an information product, right? It wouldn't be a car. It wouldn't be a hard, lumpy object. It wouldn't be a pen, something like this. It would be information. Services is where you take your car in to go get it washed. That's a service. And media is an experience that you take somebody through.
Which is next door to Disney. That's an experience. Everyone's saying experience. Disney calls himself the happiest place on the earth, right? And it either is or it isn't for you. But how many have been to Disneyland, Disney World, or Epcot? During the rest of your life, how many plan to go back? I mean, we were close friends with the guy who designed the $9 billion Epcot. He just passed away and Bob did his funeral, but Ken Kerr for Disney. He met Walt when he was 5 years old, went to work for Walt, and then opened up Epcot, and the writing of the mythology for it was by a guy born in my hometown, Ray Bradbury. But our friend Ken Kerr did all the design.
Millionaires see patterns. Millionaires see patterns.
Everyone say, I see patterns.
Just like
one of your neighbors say, you see patterns.
Just like you saw those Indian faces hidden in that particular piece of art, magnificent piece of art. Most people just don't see those patterns. Millionaires see those patterns. How do we get to see those patterns? Well, we try to teach you how to see them, but it's also going back to your inspiration. You start to see things people don't see. It just kind of pops out at you. How many this weekend have you begun to see a world that you did not see before you walked in this door?
Look around the room. Look around the room. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up.
We're trying to teach you how to see these patterns.
At least 80% of you, I think. Maybe not 100, but 80 it looks like.
So what we want you to ask, for every product that you are starting to make into something magnificent, you start to ask questions about it. You ask questions that millionaires would ask. For instance, what if we could create a multisensory experience with it? What if we take this pen right here? Okay, it's just a stupid pen. All right, well, what if we added some multisensory stuff to it? What if there was a smell to this pen? Like it just puffed this little aroma. As you wrote, every time you wrote it kind of puffed stuff off of it.
Yeah, it smelled like lavender, which is both a calming smell and an aphrodisiac.
What else could we do to add some multisensory stuff to this pen? It could be a flashing light. What else? A warmth, yeah. Oh, there's one. Look at that. There you go. That's it right there. It's a bubble pen. Oh, there's no bubbles in it. In other words, we can take things and we can add things to the pen to multisensitize it. Every product you see could be multisensorized. So you start to ask your question about every product that you're going to create. How about this one? Foreign eyes. What if we could take it to the world? Are there products here in America that would make you billions of dollars if you just took them to another country? Are there products in other countries that have made millions over there, but they haven't been brought here yet? Ken Kerr, as you were just mentioning, brought Smurfs here. He found the Smurfs in a toy fair in Germany, brought them here. The kids, they brought all these samples, about 1,000 different samples of all the toys they picked up at the toy fair in Germany. Brought them home and put a whole bunch of kids in a room with all these toys and just found out which one the toys which kids the toys loved and kept playing with over and over again. It was these little blue figurines, these little blue figures. And they said, who created the Smurfs? And they forgot the name of the guy, where they got it. They didn't have the sample. They flew back to Europe because they had a hit. They had to go to Frankfurt all the way